happened last year with ESL, with them not allowing you guys to compete. What do you honestly think the likelihood is of Team YP Overwatch being able to participate in major tournaments or leagues?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was a big one. They control a lot of tournaments, and it's a big hit for us for sure. But they're moving forward. We're pushing through, and the team was actually in a tournament this weekend, and it went pretty well. And we're just gonna keep going. They're a pretty good team in France, so we're looking for tournaments over there, and we're trying to not let it get in the way of doing what we love.
So if what I'm hearing is correct, the game plan is sort of concentrate on the playing of the game rather than the overarching, strategies of how you're going to get into stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to focus on their game and how they play, and like everything, as they get better, hopefully that whole YP stigma could kind of go away, and it'll just be Team YP Overwatch, France. They will be the main focus, and we'll be able to get into those major tournaments.
So how will that stigma go away, though? Because, forgive me, I don't think it's going to change just because you guys get better, right?
I mean, perhaps the stigma has to change with
Ryan, I think we may have been disconnected.
I think we dropped the call.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Give her another call back. Yeah,
Okay,
give her
cool.
another
Can
call
you bring
back.
up her number on the screen if that's cool?
What's that? Sorry.
Just redial.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. See, the thing is, I guess with Team YP, first of all, they're just listed as Team YP, getting away from the porn.
Yeah,
right.
like
because I mean, that right away can turn some heads. But
You know what that extension was? Anybody remember?
Yeah, I'll give it to you off. Here.
Yeah. Okay. I'll. Oh, there we go.
Well, yeah, I still need the extension.
All right, just don't say it out loud here, okay, guys?
Yeah, give me a sec.
Yeah.
But-
I got it.
Nice old school tech.
Yeah, buddy. Okay.
Kyle with the pen tech.
But in terms of Team YP, hold on, here we go. Getting away from this stigma, and let's see.
Ryan's just collecting his thoughts here.
There it is.
There we go. You got it?
Maybe it has to come from the community, because again, like when we talked about this first coming up, it was I guess there was a lot of what you'd say, it could be a publicity stunt, it could be whatever. But like I said, I think that these guys are on the right track in order to make sound business decisions. These are people who just want to get involved in esports. That's my take on it, but I can't wait to hear from Jessica herself here as we get her reconnected again.
Yeah, I mean, just going into even the stigma that these guys face, getting into tournaments. Like, I wonder what the players feel when they're at these tournaments. Do they get any comments? Do they get does anybody care that they're sponsored by Team YouPorn, or is this kind of what we're hearing from the moral minority type deal?
Yeah, I hear you. Jessica, you back there?
Hello?
Hey,
welcome back.
We got you back.
Hey, sorry.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
I wanted to hit volume, and I hit the wrong one.
That's fine.
No worries.
Oh,
Jessica,
we've all been there.
Yeah, Team YouPorn, long-time viewer, first-time caller. Jessica, tell us your thoughts.
So getting back to the original point before we had some technology issues, how do you think that stigma is actually going to go away?
I mean, we've always tried to keep the two entities apart. So we're really just hoping that by continuing to focus on their gaming and their strengths and their winning, that's going to help us keep the two apart, and eventually it'll go away and we'll be able to do what we do best.
So just in talking to some of your players, have you, I don't know how they're received at events. Does anybody really care that they're sponsored by YouPorn in terms of a negative light? Or is it just one of those cases where yeah, okay, you've got a sponsor or whatever? Or is it positive? I don't know. I know, that's exactly it. The way we talk about this here, I mean, I know we're a little, maybe not quite in the majority here, but I mean, we were all laughing about it. I think it's funny. I want to see you guys throw a YouPorn tournament, because that would be hilarious to me, right? So how are the players kind of received?
The players love it. They're always pitching us ideas. They want us to, find a way to get some of our actors involved in their streaming.
I'm
videos.
shocked at that. I am
And
shocked at that.
Are you able to elaborate on that? Like some of the ideas that are thrown your way?
I'm not going to elaborate on it.
That's fair.
or-
We're just excited.
Okay, Ryan's gonna let his imagination go wild then.
Now, you talked a little bit about your roster earlier, and there's one player in particular I wanted to mention. You've got a guy who plays Street Fighter, and he's also going to play on the Overwatch team. Now, realistically, how is someone going to be good at both games if they can't concentrate on one or the other? Like, where do you see the success rate there?
So the reason we decided to, okay, let's try it with Overwatch is he's really one of the best professionals I've worked with in esports. He's really good at what he does already for Street Fighter, and his main focus right now is just the team of Overwatch. Street Fighter was, he was our sole player, but now he has a whole team that he needs to support, so he's been focused on that, and he's already doing amazing, and we have full confidence that he's just going to continue to grow, and I haven't seen anything drop in terms of his other, Street Fighter. He's still doing great there. He's just putting a little more focus on Overwatch because he does have a team depending on him. But
Right. Okay, so
so
you're
far, so
saying
good.
he's moving. He's kind of like moving the focus to Overwatch. Now, I want to go back to a point that Kyle made earlier, where he sort of brought up the idea of a YouPorn sponsored tournament. Because as I say, we talked about you guys on the podcast last week, just amongst ourselves, and we were thinking like, okay, if you're having trouble getting a team into majors and things like that, why don't you start your own, right? And that's a showcase for Team YP.
We've thought about it. We've been thinking, we're putting a lot of thought in it actually lately. We might have something coming in the future. We need to find the right partner. We're still looking for our partner in crime for this one.
So I kind of want to just dive into a little bit of how you guys see the separation between the team and YouPorn business as a whole. It sounds okay. Just I guess to give you a little bit of background on what I think a lot of the scene looks at it and how I personally looked at it when you guys first came in was, to me, it was a marketing vehicle for YouPorn. You were trying to get like the YouPorn brand in front of a new audience. It kind of seems like you guys are actually operating Team YouPorn as its own like independent entity, right? Like, is that kind of a fair way to look at it? You're looking to make the esports team its own kind of profit-making enterprise as opposed to being a vehicle for marketing?
Yeah, that's exactly it. We're trying to keep it completely separate. YouPorn is YouPorn, and Team YP is esports, gaming, completely separate entities.
Okay. Bravo.
That's
See,
our goal.
thank you. And I was talking about this last week. See, there's just too many haters in the world. Why can't Team YP just be doing something good, man? They're smart, business savvy people. Porn sells itself, or maybe it doesn't sell because, it's free, but it's accessed all the time, man. It's accessed all the time. And these are people with money that want to put it into esports. Let's welcome them. Let's give them a round of applause, and let's take them as legitimate contenders.
Yeah,
man.
a lot of people actually, like, it's funny talking about that. Esports has this thing about wanting to get in front of as many people as possible. They do the whole TV thing, and everybody kind of louds that, like, oh, great, like, it's on ESPN now, or it's on, like, Turner. Like, we're seeing a larger audience. What if we start broadcasting YouPorn tournament on YouPorn? Let's do that. I want to see, like, a Hearthstone tournament played on YouPorn, streamed exclusively on YouPorn. That sounds probably not like the greatest idea. I would watch it, though.
Well, Blizzard.
I would get it open at work. I would probably only get, like, 2 or 3 HR complaints. It'd be great.
I just want to know, Jessica, when you started having Ryan on your payroll.
Yeah, really. Ryan is shucking pretty hard right now. Eh?
He's a big
Jessica,
fan.
I'm surrounded by hate even in this podcast room. Look at this. Like these guys, if YouPorn wants to come in with, again, savvy business people who want to invest in esports, why think it's hilarious? Why think that it's a publicity stunt? Why not give them the benefit of the doubt that they're doing a great thing?
Well, you raise a good point, Ryan. I don't know how you feel about this, Jessica, but, in terms of the morality prospect, I know you've already said that, you guys separate that and you're on your grind to play well, play better, and place well. But, the sponsorship question or the stigma, as you put, is always going to be there. But is it so much? Is the morality of it so much different than an energy drink marketing to 12-year-olds?
Nope.
Just silence says it all.
Listen, last week.
I mean,
Go
sorry
ahead.
guys, sorry. I mean, it's like I said, it's completely separate. This is esports. I mean, I sound like a broken record, but we got into it because staff, we over here are gamers. Not particularly myself, because I just started. I'm getting into it, but
What are you starting with? What's your game to start with, by the way?
Sorry?
What game are you starting with? I just want to know Jessica's choice there. What game are you starting to learn?
Oh, Overwatch, of course.
Overwatch,
Oh my
of
God.
course. Good,
Yeah.
good.
Gotta start with that one. I have a team to support. So.
Who you maining, Jessica?
Who am I what?
Who you main in
Main
Overwatch?
character.
We're
We're
gonna
getting-
judge you right
We're
now.
going
so
full nerd now.
Answer
You're putting me on
correctly.
the spot here. I can't answer that.
Can't answer your main in Overwatch? Okay, confirmed Hanzo main.
Yeah, seriously. this
Straight
is-
up.
Yeah.
Straight up. Or Genji. Maybe Genji too.
Okay, just I want to circle one more time, just to the kind of business aspects of it. I mean, obviously, as a team, you guys are going to need your own sponsors now. Do you guys have any concerns about, first of all, finding people that we'll partner with, and then on the other side of things, just as like a kind of vengeance, would you turn down mainstream advertisers to be like, no, we're only going to take like the weird ones?
No, at all. That's an easy one.
That's a good answer.
We want to get into those mainstream outlets. We want to be able to partner with them. That's where we're going to get our name. That's how we're going to get into the tournament. And in terms of any issues finding players to work with us, that we get hundreds of emails a day for people that are looking to play with us. It's harder to find a partner, obviously, but I mean, my God, if someone came to us, we would take it.
Oh wow! So you have people coming to you.
Yeah, we need people coming. Like that's
That's pretty good.
Players, in terms of players,
Yeah.
yes, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys. I know that you guys over at Team YP are really busy right now, preparing, playing some Overwatch, maining Hanzo probably. So
Probably.
we've got to let you go for now, but I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for a few minutes.
yeah. Thanks a lot, Jessica.
Thanks for having us.
It was our pleasure. Take care.
Bye.
Now, Ryan, this is your phone, so I got to let you hang up. I don't even want to be messing with this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be finding your
Pass it over
YouPorn
here.
links all over here.
Yeah. I'll put us on Periscope for the next little while. How about that?
Oh, cool. Are we not on Periscope?
No, not right now.
Oh, okay,
We're
cool.
on the phone.
All right. So what did you? Oh yeah, true. Yours is the Periscope phone.
Yeah, you got it.
So what did you guys think about Jessica Shammy's, the manager of Team YP Overwatch's answers?
See, I think it's interesting that they are looking at it as separate business entities. Like they're like, I'm curious to see if that hurts them more than helps them with having. I mean, they're getting money from YouPorn, I'm sure, but they've got this like controversy to kind of get over. It definitely makes them more known. I mean, their team itself is not super well established, but we're again talking about it. There's lots of other places that are talking about it because it's with YouPorn. Does that interest keep up if they can't produce results? And does it matter? Like
Right.
if it does keep up, maybe it's a pure marketing vehicle.
Well, like that's the thing. Like, does it matter? Is the question for me. We had a really good piece. I think it was by our own Josh Burry, who did a kind of a profile on NRG and their business strategy. Came out a week ago, or on the weekend perhaps. And it was a really fascinating look at how NRG approaches esports, and I feel like there's some parallels to be made here with YouPorn, because they basically came out and said, like, listen, we don't necessarily need to win everything. We just need people to care. We need to have that interact with our fans, gain value with esports fans and that kind of thing. And I feel like maybe YP should go that route, because right now they're not in contention for anything. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, especially coming in a team out of France. I mean, we're seeing North America start to gather a lot more of the Overwatch heat right now, unless you're going to Korea for Apex, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, we've had what Team Rogue. Rogue has confirmed they moved to Las Vegas. Perhaps one other. Like, we're definitely seeing Overwatch Nexus. Excuse the League of Legends terminology. In North America. Now I wanna riff with you guys a little bit here. We didn't really discuss this beforehand, but I'm an FGC guy. You're gonna find that out pretty quick. You're gonna find out that I'm gonna jam in FGC where I can. And E-League, guys, E-League Street Fighter. You heard about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting move. Every time that we talk about kind of esports on TV, I always come back to why would we not go, or why are they not going with like a fighting game first? I think it's the most visceral, easy to understand game, right? Like you want, everybody's concerned about commercial breaks and whatnot, but Street Fighter gives you time for that. There's round breaks.
I think it says something that E-League has CS:GO and Street Fighter. They're the two most sort of, they have the least barrier to entry, right? Like my mom can sit down and she's like, oh, okay, well, Ryu has to beat up Akuma.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy just shot another guy in the head.
Yeah, and you can absolutely, I mean, realistically, you still have to pay to have stuff on TV. So the networks have to make money. If you have Dota, goes between, you can have a 50-minute game, you can have like a 2-hour long game, right? What do you do during 2 hours? You can't take breaks. There's no TV timeouts. There's no, like, what do? You do the soccer approach of being like, well, I guess it's slow, we'll try to fit something in. Or you do the full 45-minute half with no breaks, right?
That's a good point. It's something I don't usually think about. I'm just like, I'm happy as a Street Fighter fan. Like, I'm just like, oh, some people care. People pay attention.
You're excited, and then Kyle's the businessman rolling up his sleeves saying,
hey,
dollar bills,
hey.
yo.
No, you brought this up, though, I think when we were talking about this last, right? In that this is not about like serving the audience that's already there. It's about developing new audience and putting esports in front of this general TV watching audience. You need something that's much easier to understand. CSGO is pretty easy to understand. There's obviously a ton of depth to it, but from the basic level, Street Fighter is a completely different level of basic to understand. You don't need to know all the like super intricate I guess techniques that are going into it. But
I can see so many fighting people just grinding at their computer right now.
Man.
Easy.
Yeah,
easy.
our Kappa's getting lit
Hey, I'm not saying the game is easy. I'm saying it's easy to understand from a visual level.
All right.
It is. Let's just say it's an onion, all right? There are layers.
You know what, Colin? Fight me in real life. All right?
Woo! Let's do it, man.
You're basically just calling all fighting people monkeys.
No. It's an onion. There's a first layer, which is like basic shit. And there's, multiple more deep layers until you get into like the crazy stuff and everybody knows frame rates off by heart, things like that.
Well, I think the level of knowledge you need of the game to actually enjoy watching it is much lower, which is a good thing. Like that's absolutely a good thing.
It's down there with soccer, you know? It's just, down there with, why not just say UFC? Duh, what a good analogy.
Let's say it's up there with soccer and UFC. Let's not say it's down.
It's easy to understand. I get what you're saying. There's certain things like the stuns and the meters and like what does this do exactly? But overall, yes, it's a fight. You know how it goes out. You've seen it on the street countless times.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know where you live, but all right.
Damn, Ryan, where are you seeing like Ryu versus Chun-Li on the street?
That East Coaster apparently got some wild bar fights.
Yeah, apparently.
No, I mean, I think you just you can't sit down like a friend or something that doesn't know anything about esports and be like, hey, watch this game of League of Legends with me, or watch this game of Dota with me, because they're gonna be like, what the hell is going on?
No, but it was super cool. So again, when we were in Madison Square Garden, sold out for the World Championships, right? 20,000 people in MSG. I had usher people when I was in doing some camera work, shooting the fans, just being like, hey man, what's going on here? Why are people cheering right now? What's that dragon thing? Why are people getting so amped about this? And as educated fans out there, it's super fun. I know it's like a learning curve to understand League, Dota, even CSGO for that matter. I mean, you sort of got to know the maps, know what they're doing with the bomb. Like, there's some things to understand, but when you explain it, it sort of ups the crowd to a very knowledge base. Like, they know what's going on, and it's super exciting, man. I love these in-depth esports.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, the hardcore fans are hardcore, right? I had a similar experience when they came to Toronto, right? I went to the ACC and I was blown away.
Yes. I'm just saying that understanding League, it's not the most complex thing. It's not like you're watching somebody play, crib. Like you're watching something like hockey. Like, when someone dies and when people have full health and they're doing stuff. So I don't think the learning curve is...
Again, it's layers, right?
Yes.
You can't just say there's no learning curve because you can go deep with League. I mean, someone who just steps in and watches League, like, they're not going to have any clue what's happening during just even a team fight, let alone overall strategies of like when to push the lane, and things like that. So it's all layers. It's about layers. But layers, Jerry.
I feel like we're gonna end up talking about onions a lot.
Yes.
Well, last show I made a food analogy too. Remember the organic carrots in the pizza?
Yeah. You're just bad with. This is the show of bad analogies.
Good.
Terrible. Terrible
good.
analogies and learning that Colin also bets like a penny on things.
Yes, of course.
That's
throw
not
back.
true. It was a nickel.
All right.
This was a nickel.
Okay, so the other thing that happened over the weekend, we had the first part of I Am Katowice.
Yep.
So the first part was good in terms of technical issues.
Yeah, it was about as good as this podcast was today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. This is a much simpler thing. We still have our issues, but
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is they've been doing this for like a few years now. Now they separated the league and the rest of the events for this year because they needed some more space, which I mean I think is probably a good thing for them. They're getting enough audience for multiple games now that they need a larger space. But we've talked about this in the past. People want more international League of Legends events. Nobody from North America decided to go for this one.
Mad teams dropped out.
Yeah,
And even some Korean teams dropped out as
and
well.
then so the European teams all go. Korea, LMS goes, and then we have like a couple wildcard teams that were in there as well. And they have pretty significant delays. And is it worth it? Is the level? I mean, G2 was complaining about having lag on their computers and whatnot. If these guys aren't able to put together a tournament that people want to attend from a technical standpoint, like how are you going to justify these teams spending a week of their time to play in this tournament?
Money.
It's not.
Okay. But if they have technical problems on the computer, do you think they're likely to win?
I know, and I think G2 said they had spent something like 10 hours on stage during that day, and like, god damn, man, like that's grueling.
Well, it finished for us at 7:30 or something, so it was like 1:30 in Poland.
Yeah, it was super
That's
late.
brutal.
Awful, man, awful. And like, no disrespect to IEM. I know it's a huge undertaking, but this isn't new for them. This isn't a new thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, they do multiple events a year, and to be honest, like they've been plagued by delays. And again, super complicated setup that these guys have.
I
to run.
understand
can't
it's a
even
super
imagine.
complicated setup, but the thing is that there are professionals out there, and do we have to turn to Riot, who gets it right whenever they go places? IEM, how does that bode for Intel?
This is
man?
exactly where I was heading, actually. This was exactly where I was
Poor
heading.
guys, man.
So people have kind of criticized Riot for taking all of League of Legends under their wing, basically. Like, if it's going to be official...
You give it to the computer guys, they fuck it up.
Yeah, but so you give it to like Riot took everything. They were the ones basically doing all of the tournaments at the major level, with the exception of ESL. And is like people criticize Riot, is maybe that was the right approach. So do we have to look at all these other leagues that are starting? I mean, like the Overwatch League, Blizzard says they're going to have at least a very heavy hand in that, if not running it entirely. Valve has, so far given off a lot of their majors, but they still are involved to it to some degree. Is this just the way that we see it? Is it the people that have this big of a stake in their game, are they going to give it up to somebody like ESL or to, I mean, we've seen a rise of major production companies in esports, but are they going to keep getting events?
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, that's a good question. Only time's going to tell, if it's going to be third parties or if it's going to be the developers. I don't know if I can articulate this properly right now, but I kind of like the idea of having third-party leagues, having it, arm's length from the developer. I don't know. I imagine a lot of shenanigans happening, with whomever it is. I'm not just talking about Riot, I mean, Blizzard's yanking Hearthstone from everybody, and they're trying to do that too. So I'd appreciate a little, what can I say, arm's length.
I think it's cool to, if we think about, esports going in the direction of traditional sports, right now, Riot has actually allowed a break in their schedule to accommodate I Am Katowice. And I think that's huge. I think that's major. You look at the soccer in Europe and the Champions League versus their own domestic leagues. You look at hockey in North America with the the World Championship breaks and stuff like that they're getting involved with, the Team North America versus Team USA and all that stuff. And I think that these are models that are proven that worked. And I think Riot has done a great thing. And again, I think they're forward thinking. I think these guys really know where they're headed. And to allow a break in the middle of spring split to accommodate IAM Katowice, I think it's excellent. Because the only reason not to do it, to send your players out to do all this stuff in traditional sports, is that they might get injured. Now, I understand the whole thing about burnout.
I was just about to say burnout.
We hear it too much, burnout. But guess what?
I don't think we hear it enough.
Yeah, seriously.
Get out of
I
here,
can't
man.
believe you're saying that
No,
we hear burnout in in esports too much. We're we're barely hearing about
No,
it.
you know what it is? I think it's because Ryan's around us and we talk about it so much. But
Okay.
I think the general conversation
in
of
the
Burnout is
in
not
the
there.
exactly in the overarching conversation, it's just like we need so much more attention and spotlights on the health of esports athletes.
Okay, fair enough. And that's I guess I came from a place that was no esports or just playing the game for the sake of playing the game and having fun. And then when I got here with theScore Esports, I was thrown right into like the dressing rooms and the guys getting ready and the guys on stage and when you get to see it at that level, like when you're talking to them, before the camera rolls, that's when you always hear about burnout. And you also hear a lot about team psychologists and eating healthy body, healthy mind.
Yeah.
That is what's being said on the ground floor at all these events. And maybe the general public doesn't see the significance of a psychologist, of a nutritionist, of working out, because a lot of people will sit down and play for 12 hours a day. That leaves no time to get up, move your legs, work out, take care of your body and mind. So maybe I just see it from a different angle coming in here.
You're saying they already are conscious of that, is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I mean, all the players talk about is burnout. All the players talk about is work-life
See,
balance.
that tells me it's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That means it's a
I'm
problem.
just sick of hearing about it.
Shut up.
Man, okay. That's the thing with Katowice, and I mean, even MSI and Worlds coming up. Realistically, these guys their reward for doing well at their game is, I mean, yeah, you get some money, prestige, and all that, but it's basically, you don't get vacation time. Everybody else that didn't go to Katowice had 2 weeks off. I mean, yes, they were most likely practicing and whatnot, but I mean, I think that's probably more relaxing than getting on a plane, flying out to Poland, and playing in a tournament.
Again, forgive me for plugging theScore Esports, but we actually just published an article on Burnout in CS:GO, which was really nice, and a lot of the pros that were in that piece were talking about how the burnout's not from the tournaments, the stuff we see, right? Okay, it's from the boot camps. It's from the brutal boot camps where they're practicing and they're in these team houses and stuff. So, I mean, I do think there needs to be more of a spotlight on that.
And if I could, I'll shed even more light on the podcast, the League of Legends podcast. We had Misfits on, and they were talking about the exact same thing. The fact that even though they're not going to IEM, it's almost seen as like a benefit that you get to boot camp and train that you get in the middle of your spring split. If you're not doing so well, you could take this time to really turn it around, to make some changes, to do a boot camp and really ramp up your team. Meanwhile, the guys who do go to IEM Katowice, they're dealing with, press, they're dealing with, preparing for that tournament and travel and all this stuff. So they don't get that same break. And I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see if after this Katowice break, if some teams turn around.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll all be watching the 3 European teams that went there. I mean, those guys were pretty high performing in the league. So does G2, H2K, and you all kind of keep it up, is this the time that the people who are biting at their heels kind of overtake them?
Oh, perfect people to ask are our League of Legends podcast people.
Yeah, I think they'll be talking about it this week.
Absolutely.
So tomorrow. So I think it'll be good to see. On the topic of team houses, we've got so we do have a guest coming up in 10 minutes.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
Just as a heads up for that. So we've got Steve Arhancet from Team Liquid that'll be joining us.
Sick.
So let's stay on the topic of League of Legends and team houses for a little bit, because I'm sure we'll have some questions for him.
Okay, can I go off on a little bit of team house tangent here? Because this is okay. So did anybody see Virtus Pro's CS:GO, their new boot camp in Russia? Their new team house. Okay, it is so sick. I don't know if you can find that. It was in a tweet, Ryan. I think I can't remember if it was from the main Virtus Pro account or if it was from one of the players, but it looks like something out of like Neuromancer or the Matrix or something. It's like, but Soviet style. It's like so over designed. It's all backlit. It's all like brushed chrome. It's sick. And I want to see, speaking of esports on TV, I want to see esports cribs. That's what I want. I want to see.
We've seen enough of that, and you see them in documentaries and stuff. And it's.
I don't watch
I mean, you
those
could just go to like Keg Party 101 in the dorms, man.
Okay,
it's very similar.
I want to see the shitty ones, I do, but I also want to see the ones where it's like, yes, we have $1 million owner. And
We did some of those last year with a few of the Chinese esports teams for League of Legends.
Okay.
So I mean, like it's just funny the different approaches that they take. I mean, I think even going beyond the comforts of team houses, like I don't know, man. You give me like the nicest house in the world, and you make me live with 6 of my like coworkers. I'm still not going to be happy after a while.
Hell no. Hell no.
And I mean, I don't even know what the accommodations is for a lot of these guys are. Like, are they at least getting their own rooms? Are
Give it
people
up.
sharing?
They got
stuff?
one of those chairs like Will Smith and Men in Black, man. They've got that. They've got
I'm
like,
trying to say.
yeah, man. They've got. Look at this. They've got a little workout area.
That's for Pasha.
It looks like
Yeah,
a
it's
bunker,
Pasha.
man.
It's actually it's just curls.
Legit.
Yeah.
Well, they have, if I remember correctly, they have a nice big dumbbell set, and they have those hanging things that gymnastics use, like, the rings, the hanging rings.
Yeah.
I would just love to walk in to have the whole team playing CS:GO and just Pasha just doing gymnastics or something. Look at that. Oh, there's treadmills too. My bad.
Yeah.
Gotta get that cardio.
I gotcha.
No,
Cardio.
like that's legit. But the thing is, if it's nice. Can you live
It's
there?
nice.
Can you live there for like with all of your people around you? Yeah, you get support staff. Maybe you have like a chef or something, which is great. But you're not getting your privacy. You're not getting like your own life. That work-life balance does not exist anymore because you are your life is around your work.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I love the Scores office. It's the coolest office I've ever been in. I don't want to sleep here.
Who set the standard that all these teams need to like live together? Can't they just like?
I think
can't
it
they
started
give them
as-
their own houses and then show up?
I think it started as the cheapest way to kind of train together and to prepare for events.
Cheapest.
Yeah.
Cheapest.
No, because people Riot centralized where their event was going to be, right? So, I mean, part of it started there. There was team houses before for training. Some of it was just straight up, hey, we need like solid interconnection in an area, and we want everybody to be together. Because if you're pulling, like with StarCraft, right? If you've got like a great a European player and like some Korean players or something, they can't realistically play against each other unless they're in the same spot. So
But can't they
that's
all
what
live?
happened.
Can they all just put them up in like bachelor condos that are close, and then they just like
but that's gonna be
come
more-
come to work?
That's going to be more. I mean, I think you start to approach it like life then, right? These guys are being paid salaries anyways. I mean, the score doesn't give me a place to live. So yes, well, that's probably in the like part of their salary is the fact that there's room board included. Like, man, just take that out a bit. Bump
Kyle,
their
you can
salary
sleep
up.
under the podcast desk. Come on, man.
I know, right?
It's nice in here. Look at the new decorations we got. Look at
Yeah.
this lovely. I don't know if you can see it
CLG.
on CLG.
oh,
or on the
now
camera.
now you're gonna get flamed for being biased.
Look
over
at
there.
this
Like,
lovely CLG jersey we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, I like this spot too, but I'm not going to want to live here, and I sure as hell can't have a private life here.
Yeah, it's weird. It's got to mess with your development, honestly. I know we all lived in, well, not all of us. I know a lot of us lived in a dorm space when we were going to university, but that might have been for a year.
Yeah.
And even if it was for 2 years, you probably had your own space, like your own, or at least you shared it with one person, like not like six.
Yeah.
Right. So, but these guys, it's like their adult lives. I guess.
And you've also
for some.
in residence, you've got like an end, that at the end of the year, okay, I'm going to be out of here.
Graduating. Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's kind of like you leave the team or you get fired, and that's why you leave the house. Neither of those are necessarily good things. I mean, leaving a team could be you could get traded or whatever, but yeah, there's not really the fun endpoint.
I just wanted to give a shout out to that crazy ass team house. Look, the plants are on wheels. They're on wheels, people. Brushed chrome wheels.
That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't have to.
They're going
it's Virtus,
places.
It's Virtus Pro.
They're going places.
Doesn't have to.
Okay, so given the choice, not even the choice, because we don't have a choice. It doesn't matter what we think. Do you think it's the healthiest way for the players to do it, or do you think you see? Yeah.
No, it's not.
There's no way the answer to that question is yes.
No, and
literally
why does not one team are there
Yes.
any teams?
Yeah, a few teams are now experimenting with the whole working office.
Experiment.
No, basically, because for a time, I mean, okay, so in Korean esports, team houses are the way you do it, right? And they're seen as dominant across a lot of the game. Not seen, I guess they are dominant across a lot of
Sure.
So what? Everyone's like, maybe they're good because they live together. Let's all live together.
Well, when someone is successful, you
emulate it.
Yeah, you
Okay,
have a
you could emulate
tendency to
so
emulate
many
it.
other things. You thought that putting people in a house together is going to make things
Okay,
better?
but-
That's the
but
Korean
you-
secret,
You're
everybody.
dealing with 17 to 20-year-olds all
That
the
and
time, so
ramen.
you
Yeah,
gotta,
so what?
make sure they're
That's
together.
prime
That's why
time.
esports people eat so much Korean barbecue.
What?
Yeah.
Listen, man, there are a lot of people back in the day of wars. People 16, 18 years old were making decisions to move out on their own. And that's not crazy. 20 years ago for 18-year-olds to move out on their own. Hold on, Kyle. Hold the door. You can't have an 18-year-old living on his own, getting paid lots of money to play a professional sport.
I think you're right, but we can't compare generation to generation.
Oh,
The
no,
ones
I'm
they
just
lived up in
saying,
is different.
again, a lot of times we compare esports with traditional sports.
Yeah.
And Of course, yeah. When you travel on the road, when you go to these tournaments, you get bunked up, and that is bonding time. When you go on these like boot camps, when you do stuff like that, you get together, and maybe you're all staying in the same house, but it's for a finite amount of time, and then you get to know each other, but you still go home to your own place.
Well, honestly, Ryan, I think this actually circles back to the point about burnout because, all right, the comparison between like a traveling MLB team, right? They play a billion games a year. They have to travel for a lot of them. But you know what? They do have an off season. There is a time between October and when spring training starts that they are not actually playing baseball. There isn't a time that CS:GO isn't being played, right?
But I mean, technically, there kind of is, and you could take breaks. But I'm just saying, even if there's not. Like these guys are not sleeping in the clubhouse, MLB players. And guess what? You're talking about the recipe for burnout. How about sleeping at your fucking desk? That's burnout, man. That is burnout.
Ryan went from hyper positive. Why can't all we be loved to be like, that's burnout, man.
This is porn to stress for him, right?
Yeah.
Like this is basically what he's saying. It's like, you know, if I don't have a place for porn, like what am I supposed to do?
Well, that's the real question: is where does Virtus Pro watch their U porn?
I've been on too many sports trips where guys just take turns in the bathroom with a magazine, right? And that is what these kids are living in. They're 17, 18 years old. Let them go out and have this struggle of going down and getting their own groceries. That's how they become better humans and like grown up and stuff like that.
Well, if we want to talk about esports pros being humans and grown up,
I'm just saying,
we're going to need another hour.
If you want to be a professional, you do not live in a junky little place with all your buddies, man. No, if you want to be a professional, you take the shit seriously. You go home and you sleep well when you go to work. You really do a good job. But
to play devil's advocate, I don't remember the last time you won IEM. So I don't know.
I don't
Get out of here, man.
I think we're pulling a little bit too much on the players here. Like I think a lot of this is top down, right?
Top down.
If I was a pro, I would say there is no GD way I'm staying in a house with these people that are shot calling and having tiffs with and losing their minds every single day because I know even my brother, I love him to pieces. Living with him, holy shit, do I get irritated?
Yeah, exactly.
If this is a place of work, yeah, I get it. You want to go out for drinks and have some fun and be friends, and that can all be part of it. But don't sleep in the same room, man.
Yeah.
Recipe for disaster.
Like a rough week, a rough event or something like that, and having to go back and just like spend time with the guys.
Oh man, the death stares.
Yeah,
no escape.
The tension.
And especially if you messed up, made a bad play or something, like everybody's gonna know. But like these guys at the top of their game, they're not trying to hide the blame from themselves. They're not trying to shield themselves from it.
Right.
But you still have to deal with just the ire that you're getting from your team, well as fans, as well as Twitter, Reddit. Like,
imagine opening your coach's laptop to start practicing, and there's all these YouPorn videos.
You and that again.
What's going on, man?
I'm not campaigning for like a players union or whatever because I know people get crazy and like NFL is ruining all this stuff. Yeah, we get it. But if these players want to stand up for themselves and say, "Listen, I want to play for you, but I don't want to sleep here." You know what? Let's support those people. Let's put that in everybody's contract that you don't have to live in that house if you don't want to, and people are not going to give you a hard time.
Yeah, you have an office now, right? I mean, I think that's the big thing. These teams operate like a business, have an office.
Listen, everybody out there, let's get Team Liquid's manager on the go because guess what? Let's get away from these team houses. Let's see what happens.
Ryan's going to give it to him.
I'm going to lead up the players union.
Worried.
Here it comes.
I'm a little worried.
Okay, so we're still waiting on a call from.
Oh yeah, we're still waiting. Okay, I didn't know that was our signal.
No, that was not the cue. No, Colin's the Segway guy.
Yeah. Okay,
oh wow.
So we gotta wait for him to call in, so we just got to.
When it comes to Team Liquid, I'm gonna give you guys a really fluid transition when that happens.
Yeah, I just hate all of this so much.
Yeah. I was waiting for a way to break that out.
No, I think I mean North American teams seem to be maybe it's just because we're in North America we have a little bit better access to them. But I mean I know the trend is already a little bit moving to having working offices and having people actually be able to have their own spaces. Again, I think that's probably the healthiest way to go. Yeah. It's just a matter of whether I mean I think it's one of those things that you can expect the top organizations to be able to do that. But how do you do that for like a challenger team or something? Like maybe they're scraping together the funds just to have that team house by themselves, and everybody's getting $500 like a month for a stipend.
It's true.
You basically have to burn that all on food.
No, totally. Unless you're at the top of your game in esports right now. I mean, we're not at the point where everyone's making money. Actually, we're at the point where very few people are making money. So that's a concern for sure. It's another reason why I like individual esports instead of team esports. You don't have to live with people. Well, I guess Actually, StarCraft has teams, so maybe you do. I'm not too sure about that, but I'm pretty sure Knuckle Dew just goes home to his house.
I'm gonna tangent off again too. It's well, maybe it's coming full circle back to this League of Legends team house stuff because
Circle of life of esports.
Listen, when we talk to some of the pros just about, you know, again, this whole work-life balance, whatever you want to call it. So especially talking to like the Smashers, right? Super Smash scene. They say it's such a social game. Like they become friends right away because they are 6 feet away from a television, knocking knees and like, you know, shaking hands and stuff like that. A lot of people who play, you know, I guess League of Legends, CS:GO, Overwatch, Dota 2, they could be playing at home, right, on their own, and now they're forced to socialize with their team. Forced to. It doesn't. And sometimes maybe it's natural. Sometimes people would love to, but most times when you play League, you're playing by yourself. Maybe team chat, maybe whatever, but you're playing by yourself. And now it's a complete turnaround where they're fully social in a house, can't escape it.
Yeah, I mean, Smash is a weird. I presume you're talking about Melee.
Yeah, man. Some of the best partiers on the go, man.
It's really.
Yes,
okay,
they're happy people. They're friendly. Those
I
those
can't
people,
imagine a party that includes Hungry Box and Mango. To be honest with you, I don't know what that entails.
If you put those guys in a house together, it becomes super fun. And maybe it's just because they're so used to it. I mean, I guess with some of these League guys, I just know that they love playing solo queue. Sometimes they love being on their own. It's not natural with the game to be social. Of course you can be. Of course whatever happens. But yeah,
no, it's actually an interesting way to look at it too. Because I mean, Smash guys, yeah. If you look at the way that scene has grown and like the events themselves, you know, it's really you're right next to the guy, and there's like a crowd around you. With Dota League, like all of that is super online. Like you never see people face to face. Like until you get to the point where you're actually really top of the game.
Yeah, Smash is an anomaly. I mean, even Street Fighter now, Street Fighter 5 is kind of the first game where online's becoming a legit thing. And just today, we actually got the Capcom Pro Tour like revamped sort of schedule and rules, and there's way more online tournaments. So even that is maybe going into that direction a bit. Now, when you play a game that runs on a CRT TV and you need inputs that are 2 decades old, yes, you are forced to go out and, as Ryan said, knock knees with people in literal basements of Ramada Inns.
Yeah, man. Beyond the Summit in December, Smash Summit. I know they do a bunch of other summits too. Those guys, Beyond the Summit on Twitch, those guys are phenomenal, man. Couldn't say enough good things about them.
You love the Smash guys, eh?
Well, and Beyond the Summit.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
We've worked with them obviously, like doing Dota and with Smash, right? And just the difference of the people at those events is crazy. I mean, Dota obviously is much larger; that you need 5-6 people for each team,
for sure.
And then Smash, I think we had 16 people. Yeah, I mean, like it just creates a completely different atmosphere. All right, so we got Steve. I'm gonna pass over the number to you, Ryan, and we can get this rolling.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, different atmospheres, right? For sure. Smash is still rising. I was at Canada Cup last year, and it was still like the old Street Fighter and Tekken on the main stage, and Smash was quite literally in the basement.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for it to come out of the basement. Still. Yeah. But hey, it's at Evo this year, right? So.
Yeah.
It's it'll be interesting. All right. So let's begin talking. Oh, we got the dial. That's always good.
Man,
that's the beginning of it all.
I hope this goes better than our previous technical.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Hey.
I'm
good. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm Kyle. I'm with theScore. We've got Colin here as well and Ryan.
Hey, we're live.
Hey, what's up?
So we're joining live. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us. I appreciate the busy schedule you guys have.
Just for our viewers who are just tuning in, or maybe you forgot during our ramblings, we've got Steve Arhancet. He is the CEO and owner of Team Liquid. Steve, thanks so much for making time for us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right, so I wanted to chat a little bit just about, I mean, you guys just did a poker game. It looks like a rioter took it from what I understand. What happened?
Yeah. So it was about a year and a half ago, and I wanted to do some sort of poker event with the LCS team owners, and we weren't able to pull it off last year. So I wrangled up all the guys and made sure that Riot had a seat too. And we pulled it off this year. It was a great event. We raised $35,000 for various charities. Each LCS team owner represented a particular charity, and then we had online donations going to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And yeah, it was a great event, and Hopper, honestly, he played the best. Hopper's the representative from Riot Esports, and he had some good hands. He had I think the biggest bluff as well.
Did you guys know that going in, or did he kind of shark you guys?
No, he told us. He said, "Hey, I used to play poker back in the day, and I'd go to the casinos and stuff. I'm pretty good." But there were some good players at the event. The representative from Dignitas is really good. Echo Fox, and P1. He plays in like weekly poker tournaments. So it was a tough table.
Yeah, that's actually a good jumping off point. I mean, I think there's actually a lot of people that play poker that are in esports. They obviously they cater to a lot of the same audiences. Poker is huge online right now. Do you guys see?
Welcome to 5 years ago,
well,
Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Poker is huge online, I am told, by the children.
I think they play it in these. Yeah. So, do you guys see a lot of crossover in between poker and even players on your team? Or I mean, I know Elke plays Hearthstone and poker.
Yeah, we see a ton of crossover. The biggest cross-pollination is probably between Hearthstone and poker. The communities, at least from a digital content perspective, that's where you're going to see the most fans. Just watch both. And we have Randy Liu and Elke, who are both Team Liquid poker representatives that also stream Hearthstone. But the communities are really similar. I mean, there's always poker events that are going on. They're not broadcasted online and people aren't talking about them. But the esports community, it's just kind of, it fits. There's crossover.
So,
sure.
Do you think there's going to be any more esports organizations kind of taking a heavier hand in poker? Is it maybe too saturated already? I mean, it's a little more established, but just following the line of Elke, do you think any other teams kind of pick up players similar to that, or is it kind of just where it is?
I haven't heard of any teams getting involved. I think a lot of the reasons why Team Liquid has a few players that are under the Team Liquid brand is because Victor started a poker website as part of the TL forum network prior to Team Liquid even being the esports team. And so he's got deep roots in poker. He's a good poker player. And I used to play poker as well. So I managed to take second place at the event, which was kind of nice. Yeah, but I think it's a natural affinity.
That's good. Yeah, rig. Yeah. Steve's setting up tournaments. Is next time I'm gonna fix it better. Are you guys looking at doing more of these events? Is it going to become an annual thing?
I hope so. The feedback was really positive. Riot, they kind of went all in. They donated 20 different statues. Some of them are rare and they don't even sell them anymore. For donations on the stream, they matched all of the buy-ins from each of the LCS owners. We had Twitch participate, and they sent Scott Ball and a few other representatives and covered some of the costs associated with travel. And NGE did a phenomenal job with the production. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys tuned in, but it was everything that you would see on World Series of poker level. The cards had the chip readers so that you could get the percentages during the game, and it was just really well done. So I think we'll absolutely do it next year and put some more marketing behind it.
Excellent. That is huge. A big congratulations on that poker tournament for charity. Congratulations. I hope you keep it up.
Yeah, it's really cool. I guess just to kind of spin off a little bit, you guys talking about making big moves in poker and charity and whatnot. Just about the major investments flowing into esports. Obviously, you guys have some new partners. A lot of LCS teams are obviously picking up. Larger partners are being bought out. Do you think this is going to continue through the entire league? And why do you think this is mostly situated in North America right now, with only a couple organizations getting involved in Europe?
Yeah. Well, I think that there's different types of ownership that are getting involved in esports, and I think there are a good number of investment parties or individual investors or professional sports franchise owners that are doing it for the right reasons. They're trying to build a business, take care of players, and then there's a handful that are more like hobbyists. There's picking up a team because it's fun.
Yeah.
And I think the only real danger I see in terms of investing into esports is, if you're coming into it in more of an unsustainable spending way, right? You're not really trying to run a business. You're just you're just in to make a splash, right? And I think that disrupts the player salaries and the costs within the space. But overall, it's really positive because you're seeing a lot of relationships and relationship capital from these investment partners and groups that are now bringing those connections into esports. And like you saw, the Audi deal, the Visa deal, and these will continue to happen. And this is going to generate additional revenue for teams and players. And so it's great, and the viewership is there. The numbers don't lie. So now it's just bringing attention to this industry and in a more lucrative way, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, speaking of investments, we just had somebody on from Team YP from YouPorn. What's your take on? Oh, was that an oh god?
Oh god.
What? Hey, Ryan. Wait, I want to hear what the man. Has to say. What is your take on their entrance into the esports scene?
I think that the way that the structure is for the esports community is that the leagues are going to dictate the rules associated with how teams are included in esports, right? Because they get to write the rules. Marijuana being distributed or firearms or pornography or whatever they say can't go, doesn't go. And that's for LCS or IEM events or Blizzard or Valve. They're going to have those stipulations, either with the third-party tournament organizers that they hire to do it, or if they just do it internally. I think there is some danger and maybe not pornography. It's a personal thing, but I think there is danger in advertising certain products and services to the gaming community at large. Like you saw that with all of the gambling that was happening and the skins. And you've got these kids that are like 13, 14 years old, grabbing their parents' credit cards and like spending money on an underground skin betting, group of websites, half of them not even being kind of above board. And I think that that's dangerous. I think that there needs to be some level of protection on what's being advertised and marketed to the community.
Yeah, I mean, especially with esports getting, as you said, more and more mainstream. We see it on TV. You're never going to see Team YP on, a televised event.
Never say never. Never say never.
Okay. Speaking of TV, do you obviously there's more of a push to get esports on TV. You've seen it on ESPN. Turner's had it. Do you think that's the right angle? I mean, I guess to give it a bit of background, so we're not just ambushing you with a question here. We talked about it last week, and I mean, the consensus around us is kind of the audience is on web. I don't think you're going to be able to pull a generation of cord cutters away from web when that's kind of where they've grown up with the content. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think there's a trust and almost a dependence on, or not a dependence. There's a trust on how to spend money on network television and advertising and marketing, right? Mm-hmm. And there's also ratings, right? The Nielsen ratings, and it's been tested and proven, and people rely on that, and budgets are spent because of that. Well, that doesn't necessarily exist in the digital front yet. There's not this kind of index. When you see a peak concurrent average or total unique viewers, marketers and advertisers are like, is that number real? Like, what geography? They're not able to dive into the data. So I think from a unlocking additional revenue into the esports scene, it's healthy for it to be on television because that's where a lot of the dollars are. However, the audience, they're not consuming the content there. At least the incumbent esports aficionado is not going to spend most of their time on the couch watching television. They're just not. They're consuming it all digitally, or most of it digitally. So, I don't think it's necessarily going to be very successful. However, it depends on what you're measuring success by, because television overall, network television, is on the decrease, right? And so if you come up with esports content, maybe it's going to be watchable for someone that doesn't follow the scene, because they're able to just kind of jump into the narrative, and that's in how it's produced. And I think E-League is a great example when they did everything through TBS. the production value was great. You know, they were able to kind of break it down and convey the message to the new gaming fan, right? It's not necessarily gaming, it's just special interest content that people tune into. So I think from that perspective, it's good. It's reaching more people, but I think it will always pale in comparison to the digital footprint.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the way that esports events are kind of produced and put out in any given year, you don't have too many leagues. I mean, obviously we're getting more into that with like League of Legends having their LCS, Overwatch putting it together a league, that kind of thing. But on that note, actually, with League of Legends, this is the last thing that I'll keep you on the line for. I know we're taking up a bit of your time here, but the League of Legends season and Riot specifically kind of making this last now from January until if you get into Worlds till the end of October, and setting MSI to take 3 weeks in your break. You guys had a break for Katowice. I mean, a lot of North American teams chose not to go to Katowice because they actually valued their time there as kind of like a reset. How do you feel about the burnout that a lot of these teams and like, I mean, you guys specifically will be facing? Is that a major issue in esports?
It absolutely is. I mean, what's interesting about esports, which I feel is so different than other professional sports, is that there's a meta, right? And that meta changes constantly. It would be like in chess, all of a sudden the bishop moves a different way, right? And you just got to like relearn the entire game. Or if it was in basketball and all of a sudden they increased the weight of the ball by 10 ounces and everybody kind of had to relearn and the body types of the players would change and the rules of the game, right? They change and you have to relearn the game pretty much every 2 to 3 weeks. And it requires a mastery of certain champions and how those champions interact with other champions. And then with the strategy and the rotation on the towers and itemization. And so the amount of, I think the teams that end up doing really well are the ones that kind of pick up on that quickly and they can learn quickly and implement. But it all kind of boils down to there's a lot of time that goes into mastering that. And because of that, there's a lot of gameplay. That's why they're playing 8 to 12 hours a day. And then you add on top of that the competitive schedule, which is pretty intense, especially for the teams that are going to be performing really well. And they're not going to have many breaks because they're going to be going to the All-Star events, the MSI, and there's not going to be much downtime. With all that being said, though, the player salaries are they're increasing, and that's great. They're being compensated well for investing so much of their time, but burnout is absolutely a reality. I think you've seen teams go with a substitute player and move those players in and out, and I think that's healthy for the player. Like we had Matt, one of our League of Legends players, play support, and 1 week he was like, "I just need like a 3-day break," and we're like, "Absolutely, take it. Here, we've got a substitute player. We're gonna bring Conquan in, and he's gonna play some scrims and." Kind of took a load off for a little bit. And I think that as rosters kind of grow in size, you're going to see how they kind of counteract the burnout issue.
So do you think it's ever going to come to a head with an organization like Riot, who is, ultimately their product is their game, and then they have a secondary product of esports, and trying to balance those two things? And as a game, they always need to have new content coming out, new champions, new skins, stuff that drives sales, versus a competitive scene where having kind of a more stable scene is pretty beneficial. Do you think there ever becomes a time when those just need to hard fork, or can this kind of continue in perpetuity?
It's tough. I mean, the developers are going to be in this to make money, right? They're running a business. So, and I would guess that their highest source of revenue is from the in-game item sales, champion skins, everything. Yeah. So, because of that, I really don't see it. I mean, I guess it might level off in terms of the cadence of the patches, right? Or how significant the patches are over time. Riot has kind of, I think, decreased the number of patches over time. Like we used to get a patch like every 2 weeks, no matter what. And now they kind of save up and then they do a big patch and then they're kind of like minor fixes and they'll do another big patch. and they've kind of said preseason patch, mid-season patch, end of the season patch, which has helped the players a little bit. So I think I think they can control it a little bit. It doesn't have to be so black and white. But yeah, they will continue to edit the game. They have to. I mean, they need to sell and make money.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Steve, I want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Lots of great insight there. I guess we're gonna wrap it up, guys. So, Colin, this is all you, man. Do the shout out.
Oh man, but I already used my fluid versus liquid transition. What can I do now? All right. Well, I gotta say that interview.
All right, well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Steve.
Thank you so much, Steve.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Great comments from Steve. I would say that interview went down like a cool glass of water.
Awful. God, why did I give it
I
back to
had seconds to come
Why
up with
did I
that.
give it back to him?
Seconds. I don't know. Anyways, 2 guests today, guys. Long show. Really fun. But we got to wrap this up because all good things must come to an end. For Ryan Stratton and Kyle Chatterson, I am Colin McNeil on the theScore Esports podcast saying until next time, GG.
We out.